Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2012 Academy Sendoff Breakfast. This is a tradition we started many years ago to make sure that our soon-to-be midshipmen and cadets, as well as their parents, have a sort of a feel for what the next number of years are going to be, sort of give you a little head start as you head off on an exciting new adventure. And this morning we're going to hear from some individuals that have stood in your shoes, to hear some advice on what it takes to succeed at the academies and what it takes to become a good officer in our military. This morning you'll hear diverse perspectives from academy graduates and a parent's experience of these graduates. This year we had, as we always do, real success in getting our young people in these academies. We are always guaranteed 4 in the academies. We doubled that this year. We always exceed our number by a considerable amount, and it's because it really is a testament to the quality of the young people in our district. It is tough to get a nomination, tough to get an appointment. We always exceed our number by a considerable amount, and I really think, again, the quality of our young people, the quality of the parents who are with them all the way in making this happen. And we're fortunate too in Justin to have a not only a great process but a great leader in this process for the 8th Congressional District. So I want to again not just congratulate our appointees but their parents as well. Nothing in life is ever accomplished by yourself, at least nothing of importance ever is. And I know the parents have stood with you all the way, so I want to congratulate the parents as well. With that, let's take a quick break and start through the line, and we'll start with the head table here, and then we'll just have breakfast and then hear from our guest speakers, okay?
Mr. President.
Real quick, let me tell you a little about Champ. He is one of our board members that does the selection of this group. He is a graduate of West Point, class of 1974, the same class as Generals Petraeus and Dempsey. He will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and bless the food. Champe Miller is a great friend, and a great friend to our military, to our country, and to this whole process. So Champ, thank you. Please welcome.
Well, thank you, Kevin. And I'm going to add that we have 4 children, and one of them graduated from the Naval Academy. And we've got 2. We've got 2 now that are Marine officers. So, folks, you can't be successful in everything. So please stand with me as we pledge our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to pray the cadet prayer which is used at the United States Military Academy at West Point. Let us pray. O God, our Father, thou searcher of human hearts, help us to draw near to thee in sincerity and truth. May our religion be filled with gladness, and may our worship of thee be natural. Strengthen and increase our admiration for honest dealing and clean thinking, and suffer not our hatred of hypocrisy and pretense ever to diminish. Encourage us in our endeavor to live above the common level of life. Make us to choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong, and never to be content with a half-truth when the whole can be won. Endow us with courage that is born of loyalty to all that is noble and worthy, that scorns to compromise with vice and injustice, and knows no fear when truth and right are in jeopardy. Guard us against flippancy and irreverence in the sacred things of life. Grant us new ties of friendship and new opportunities of service. Kindle our hearts in fellowship with those of a cheerful countenance, and soften our hearts with sympathy for those who sorrow and suffer. Help us to maintain the honor of the Corps, untarnished and unsullied, and to show forth in our lives the ideals of West Point in doing our duty to thee and to our country, all of which we ask in the name of the great friend and master of all. Amen.
Amen.
Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your breakfast. And we'd like to begin the program as we do. At this time, I'd like to recognize all of our Academy appointees. And if you don't mind standing when I call your name, so our guests can recognize you. For the Air Force Academy, we have Christopher Ditter from the Woodlands College Park High School with his parents, Bill and Kathleen. Thank you. Stephanie Millard from the Woodlands College Park High School. Stephanie. And her parents are George and Susie. Thanks for joining us. J.C. Teston from Anderson Shiro High School. Not made it yet. And also for the Air Force Academy, Francisco Solano Bloodworth from the Woodlands College Park High School. And his parents, Hector and Susanna, are here with us as well. Thank you. For West Point Academy, we have Eric Schaefer from Tomball High School. His parents, Ryan and Deborah, are here, and if you see them sneak out, it's because they've got graduation up at A&M here this morning. So congratulations. Yeah. For the Naval Academy, Megan Retzel from the Woodlands College Park High School. She's got her parents, Michael and Linda, and is your brother here?
No, sir.
Here? Okay. And then also for the Naval Academy, James Cullingford from Conroe High School. And his parents, Jeff and Ronan, and did Paige make it? Yep. All right, welcome you guys. Thank you, and congratulations to all our appointees. We're also joined by members of my Academy Board that helped us make this selection process among very talented candidates. These prize appointments you met, Champe Miller. Tom Early, would you stand to be recognized? Thank you for your service as well. I take, and I'll tell you, we have a great selection process. I think one of the best in the countries, which is why our service academies know they can go down our bench a long way. Find very quality candidates. That's why we continue our district outperform so many others. And it is a great deal of that credit to I give to Tom, to Champ, to our service board to do the interviews, to pick the future leaders the academies are going to grab and easily recognize. So thank you all very much for the work you do. I take great pleasure in introducing our first speaker. To give you a fresh outlook on your first year at Academy, we're honored to be joined with two sets of Glissons with us this morning, who I had a chance to have breakfast with, and if you heard the laughter, we were enjoying ourselves. I'm delighted to introduce them both to you. I met Sandy and Jim Glisson in Walker County about 5 years ago. Their son Wes had just been wounded in Afghanistan, and they were working with Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington to get him the best possible care. Sandy and Jim are the all-American family. Sandy works for the Walker County District Attorney. Jim's a deputy with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. They love this country, and they've supported their son and daughter-in-law's military careers which both began at the Air Force Academy. They're going to share a little later about the Parents Academy experience, which is an adventure as well. Captain Wes Glisson and his wife, Major Amy Glisson, are also with us this morning. Both are Air Force Academy graduates, class of 2011. Let me tell you a little about Wes. While at the Academy, Wes played Division I football. After commissioning with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, he served as a design engineer at the F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, we were talking about. In the wake of 9/11, Wes deployed to Saudi Arabia, became the wing anti-terrorism officer. While stationed in D.C., he served as the chief of base development, ensuring all facilities were managed and cared for in this meticulous detail. Again, Wes deployed to Afghanistan, this time for 6 months, and was responsible for the oversight of the main runway reconstruction, ensuring the critical part of this was ensuring vital personnel and supplies in and out, moving in and out of the war zone. With the move to Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Wes served as the chief of maintenance engineering, working closely with local business developers and state congressional members as the base's military operations and surrounding communities began to encroach upon one another. This was vital in the coexistence of both communities in the future. And if 2 deployments weren't enough, Wes was tasked to move to Iraq for 1 year and oversee the transition of Department of Defense, Department of State-run facilities to the newly established Iraqi government in the Green Zone, Baghdad, Iraq, which I visited. He was in Iraq where he was injured, and he has fought against all odds and over the course of 3 years to make a phenomenal recovery and be here with us today. Wes, thank you so much for your time. As if that wasn't enough, let me tell you about Amy. While at the Academy, she competed in Division I gymnastics and is an All-American in floor and bars. After commissioning with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science, she entered the Air Force as a personnel officer at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne as well. She served in the Customer Service Organization at base level, then moved up quickly to support the wing as Protocol Chief, ensuring proper etiquette and support was extended for visitors of all levels. Having been through many of those operations, it is a lot more complex than people imagine. Wes and she moved together to the D.C. area where Amy worked again in the same arena, then was selected to work as an aide-de-camp personal assistant to the 2-star general in charge of all Air Force personnel in the National Capital Region. The next move to Las Vegas was driven by Amy's selection to be a part of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Her position served the team as executive officer, managed the squadron on a daily basis, while also traveling over 250 days to represent the Air Force to over 30 million spectators. She stood by Wes throughout each of his deployments and spent nearly 9 months at his side throughout his critical hospital and recovery time. Their last move to San Antonio offered Wes an environment with endless medical support and the Army an opportunity to continue to serve, and Amy an opportunity to serve. Amy now coordinates and executes Air Force assignment policies and procedures to ensure effective utilization, professional development of officers below the grade of colonel to meet Air Force worldwide requirements. So training our future leaders to be as strong as they can be in those positions. Amy will be sharing with our cadets this morning her experiences as well as Wes's. Please help me in welcoming Amy this morning.
Good morning. I am not so a big fan of the podium. I can walk around a little bit. I think I'll give you guys a better speech here. Well, thank you very much. I'm so proud for each and every one of you guys. They're getting ready to go to an academy, whether it's Air Force, Navy, Army. You are about to begin a journey that will define the rest of your lives. And that's something Congressman asked us to come here today to talk about my journey and what Wes and I have been through. And I think I'm going to interweave that, but really this is about you guys. It's not about me. It's not about the stories and things that happened to me at the academy, but what you guys are going to experience. So one of the things, I'm going to take you through a couple of different, elements of leadership or some things that you'll find across the next 4 years of your academy experience. And one of those is that you will never stop learning. You're never going to stop developing yourself as a person. So the topic of today, I guess, will be personal growth. And what you can do in the next couple of years to maximize that. One of my personal growth experiences even happened, I think, a month ago. I went to a LeaderCast event, which is hosted by Chick-fil-A, of all places, and sit down and talk to you about what leadership is and how you can have leadership in your home life and how you can have leadership in your professional life, in your family life, and all these things. So one of the guest speakers at that event for me was John Maxwell, who talks a lot about leadership. Some of the folks in here might know a little bit about him. He's a very well-renowned leadership expert. And he had 3 laws of personal growth. And as I'm sitting listening to this, the congressman already asked Wes and I and his parents to come and speak. And I'm just like, wow, my light bulbs are turning on. I'm like, personal growth, personal growth. That's what the academy is, personal growth. And it's, you're going to go and you're going to get challenged, and you're going to get, yelled at and told to do push-ups, and all of that's going to happen. But at the end of those 4 years, you are going to be an amazing individual. You're going to be so much stronger. Your parents won't even recognize you. There's so much work that's going to happen with you spiritually, how you see yourself in the world, your ability to communicate with other people, your ability to write, your academic experience. personal growth. That's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so the first law of personal growth is the law of intentionality. So you have already made that same choice that Wes and I made, believe this or not, 15 years ago. 15 years ago, we were sitting in your seats, getting ready to go to the Academy. I think June 20th was the day that we signed in to the Air Force Academy, and lo and behold, 15 years later, we're here. I don't think you can ever see past that first day at this point where you guys are in your seats, so some of this might fall on deaf ears, but maybe it'll sink in after a while. So intentionally, you guys have already made an intentional choice to be better, right? I was sitting in your seats going through my high school career, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go to the Ole Miss University or University of Ole Miss or Tennessee or any of those places. It wasn't what I wanted to do in my life. I didn't want to go find a husband and get married. I wanted more. And so the Air Force Academy kind of presented me with that opportunity. So I intentionally chose to go to the Academy to be better, to grow. So intentionally is something that you're going to do. You guys have made that choice today. The next part of that intentionality piece is when you get to the Academy, you're going to sit there and every day you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to choose whether I'm going to study my knowledge because I want to be better at that. You're going to have to choose whether you're going to work out a little bit extra. You know, those are choices that you're going to make to be a better officer, be a better cadet. So those are some of the things that are the intentional piece. I know my experience when I chose to go to the Academy, I was a gymnast in high school, and both of my teammates had gone to the University of Alabama, the #1 gymnastics program in the country. I didn't get recruited. I was like, well, if I didn't get recruited to go to the Academy or to Alabama, then maybe I'll just won't do gymnastics. Maybe I just don't, it's not my life plan to go do gymnastics in college. So maybe I will go to Ole Miss. And I sat down with my coach, Coach A, with him and his wife for about 15 minutes, I think. And in that 15 minutes, he kind of smacked me around a little bit and said, hey, you need to go to the Academy. And it was the stark reality, if I choose one path, I'm going to go this way in my life. And if I choose the other path, I'm going to go a completely different direction. So that was kind of that choice for me. I didn't tell my parents I was going to go to the Academy until 15 days, 20 days before I actually went. Yeah, my mom, she's sitting at home saying, do I need to buy you like dorm sheets for college or 8-plate sports bras? Because that's all I was allowed to take to the Academy. And it was one of those decisions that I had to make as my own woman. Out of college or out of high school, I'm 18, I'm like, this is my decision. And each one of you guys have made that decision here too. And so something I kind of hid from my parents in fear that if I made one decision, they would try to talk me out of one or the other in that process. So I said, nope, I got it. I'm making my decision. And I made my mind up, but didn't tell them, I think, until we were on vacation. And a week later, we put me on an airplane and away I went. So the choice to intentionally grow, that will be something that you guys will face when you get to your respective academies. And just kind of keep that at the forefront of your mind. We volunteered to go. We all serve in a volunteer force. If you don't want to be there, think about it a minute. If you really don't want to be there, it's okay to go. It's okay. But that would be a personal choice, a positive choice to stay and continue to serve. All right, this may seem a little structured, so I want to keep on task. The second law, because I will ramble. The second law is a law of awareness. And this is where I think you guys will probably zone in on the most. You have to be self-aware, where you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. If you don't know what those are yet, I promise you the Academy will tell you what your strengths and weaknesses are. Obviously I was a gymnast and I was an athlete, so I knew I had that to take in with me. That was my strength. I didn't quite know my knowledge was so much of a weakness when I got there. I do remember, like in the first 2 weeks of basic training, I was paired up with a guy named Chris Geisel from White Plains, New York. He's about this tall. I was up here, super smart, like 10-pound brain, super smart guy. Me, not so smart. And so what they would do is they would pair us up together, and they would ask me the question of knowledge, whether I knew how to remember a quote, or what my leadership chain of command was. And when I didn't know it, he had to do his push-ups. And vice versa. So they would, tell him to do something, and I would have to do knowledge. And so they kind of paired you up with your strengths and weaknesses, and then you learn how to work together as a team, which is a huge part of what you guys will learn when you're at the Academy. So the strengths and weaknesses piece. Part of that is you will have unbelievable challenges. You can't even fathom what's going to challenge you in the next 4 years. My experience is completely different than your experience. The challenges of not being able to call home, the challenges of you guys have cell phones? We didn't have cell phones. I don't think that even existed when I went to the academy. But, you know, the ability to call home, wear civilian clothes. You know, all these things are going to be taken away from you, but those aren't your strengths. Your strengths are here. Your strengths are in your faith. They're in who you are. So rely on those strengths. Know yourself. Know what makes you tick every day. And you'll get challenged on that every single day, whether it's an academic test that is challenging, and you don't know how to prepare for it, you're going to study all night long, and then go in there and you just look at a D. And it might happen, because it happened to me. You know, you just got to know where your strengths are and continue to rely on yourself. And with that, you will find other people that are just like you. And that's the other thing that I remember, and that leads me to the third law, is the law of environment. So for personal growth, to become a better person, you have to surround yourself with people that are willing to do the same. You know, you've already made that intentional choice to go somewhere different. You've already identified the strengths that you have as people, as individuals, very smart, you're athletic. The third part is putting yourself in an environment that's very conducive to that growth. And so you'll sit there, and I remember, you know, oh man, I'm an athlete, I'm really strong, I'm good, and I get to the academy, and I was like, wow, so is everybody else. This is crazy. You know, you might be the valedictorian of your high school. When you get to the academy, you'll be one of many valedictorians that are there. So all of a sudden, that bar changes. You were the best, now you're in with everyone else. And so you've got to kind of figure that out. But that group mentality, that growth, everyone will continue to challenge you guys, whether it's on the football field, getting better and stronger, whether it's an academic arena. You help each other, you study together, you do push-ups together, you work out. All that stuff's going to kind of take you to that next level. And that's what the academy does. It provides this amazing environment for growth. So moms and dads, when you see your kids for Parents Weekend or whatever that first opportunity is, you're going to be amazed. Your kids are not going to be the same. I promise. We won't know it. I didn't know it. 15 years later, I know it. But at that point in time, the first time that you guys saw Wes, you're like, who is this man as we grow up? It happens. It happens fast. And it happens every single time you come home on a leave and a vacation. I think it was one of the challenges we had was, you know, you come home for that first time and you go hang out with your high school friends. Your high school friends are still your high school friends, and you've changed. And I think that's the first time that you realize how much you've grown as an individual, as a person. So, some pretty unique things there. Let's see what big stories I've got. Let's see. Okay, so back to the environment piece. The growth that you will experience there is mostly because you're at your comfort zone. You know, you'll never grow if you stay where you are. If you stay at home, you live at home, you never have to go out, you never have to pay your own bills, you're never going to grow. So that challenge environment will make you stretch, it'll make you expand, grow, do everything that you need to do to be a better officer. And I think one of the points that I've learned throughout 4 years at the academy and then moving forward into the last 11 years of our careers is that, and this sounds, I know this probably is going to be hard to hear for some people, but you will fail. You will fail at something while you're at the academy. You will fail at something in your careers. But it's okay. Fail forward. Everyone's going to fail. You're going to either not be able to do push-ups, or fail the knowledge test, or fail a class, or a test, or a paper. But it's not the failure that defines you. It's how you respond to it. So I think, you know, keep that in mind. It's okay. It's going to be too hard sometimes. You know, you're going to want to cry. You're going to want to go home. But it's going to be okay. You're going to get back up on that horse and keep going. And that's a story that Wes and I talk about all the time. When I was a gymnast, my coach talked about we were having a really terrible season. We were losing. And she tells a story about a farmer who has a donkey. And the donkey fell in the well. We don't really know what to do. He's in the well. I can't get the donkey out. I don't have a crane. I can't do anything. What can I do? I guess sometimes I have to carry the donkey. Because I'm in the well. I can't get him out. The farmer starts to put some sand and some dirt on top of the donkey. The donkey sits there and he goes, oh, I don't like all that dirt. And he steps up. And the farmer's like, well, that's kind of weird. Well, the donkey's still in the hole. What am I going to do? Puts some more dirt on him. Finally shakes it all up. And he shakes it off and he steps up. And before you know it, the donkey walked out of the hole. So you're going to find yourself in that hole, whether it's academically, physically. Let it fall, fail, shake it off, and step up and keep going. That's probably the best advice that got me through the academy and probably has gotten me through the last 11 years of being in the Air Force is, you know, stuff's going to happen, but shake it off and just keep going. Let's see here. There's my spiel on leadership. The other couple things I'll share with you before I introduce Jim and Sandy. The day-to-day is really how you're going to live for the next 2 years. Getting up tomorrow, what's going to happen when I get up out of my cadet bed tomorrow morning. I'm going to have a test. I'm going to have to make sure my shoes are shined the right way. So focus on that. You know, really sit there and think about what it is that I have to do in that short term. Because I just talked about long term, talked about personal growth, 15 years, big picture. But for you guys, for our cadets, it's really short term. I remember the first day I went to the academy. We get in, and of course they feed you spaghetti. The first day you're there, you're wearing a white T-shirt, and you got to sit there and eat at the right angle and all this silly stuff. Everybody had spaghetti sauce all over them. And I can look back now and laugh, but I do remember going, why would they do this? This is so cruel. It's all part of the game. It's all part. So they serve spaghetti every single day on the first academy trip. But that first morning when we woke up, and I'm not sure if they still do this, but there was they play music first thing in the morning. So you're sitting there and you're lulled to sleep. You don't even know where you are, and you wake up. And as loud as possible with the senior speakers, you know that are this high, up in the hallways of the academy, they play "Welcome to the Jungle." Welcome to the jungle. You know, and you're just like, what? No idea what's going on. They've got trash cans. You know, they're trying to scare you. You know, get you all jittery that first morning, and it works. You know, it's like, where's my sock? I don't know. And you're running around trying to get dressed in this uniform that you don't know anything about. And but all your classmates are doing the same thing. You get out in the hallway, and that's kind of where you learn to figure out you can trust the people that are on the right and left side of you, and that's something that stays with you in battle, in the rest of your Air Force career, you know, the rest of your military career. That's you learn that day one, and you're waiting on your classmates to make everything happen together as a unit, as a group. And so that was kind of that first morning experience. Second morning, you know it's kind of coming. You've got a whole day's taste of what this military stuff's all about. Second day, they play a song called "Mama, I'm Coming Home." And I remember going, okay, I can go home. I'm done with this. And so, you know, you sit there and your socks are going on a little faster, you're buttoned up, everybody's out in front a little bit faster than they were before. And by the third day, you wake up. I heard the sprinklers, then I heard the birds, and I was already up and dressed by the time that they came and knocked and played music, because you just pick it up so fast. So that was kind of the first 3 days or so of the academy. The second part that I would want to tell you guys is have fun. Have fun. I know, you know, there's so much structure, and wear the uniform, and eat this way, and walk this way, and all of that stuff. Have fun. This is your college experience. It is. I know it doesn't necessarily seem like it's college, but it is. Wes and I had a blast at the academy. We have met some of those amazing people. They are our best friends. We have been in more weddings than I can count. You know, to sit there and stand next to a man or a woman and be their best man, or their, you know, their maid of honor. Phenomenal friends that you make, probably closer than family ties. I mean, I've got friends, brothers that I call that aren't my brother, that he played football with, that were in my squadron with me, and that's amazing. So have fun. Learn how to bend the rules a little bit. Part of the test. Okay, got a lot of rules. Got to figure out which ones you can bend, which ones you can break, how you get in trouble. It's okay. You're going to fail. I got caught going into the mailroom in my physical fitness gear when I wasn't supposed to be there. And a test I took, or a risk I took, and I got caught, so I had to go, you know, march some tours. And the best part about that was I got a sunburn right here from my flight cap, this way down, and the rest of me was white. But you know, you just kind of figure out yourself, figure out where you fall into that system. And then the last one is, and I can leave you with, is relativity. The next 4 years of your life are going to be relative compared to your friends. Compared to anybody else who's going to UT, A&M. It's not going to be the same. You're going to work really hard for 4 years to play the rest of your life. They're going to play for 4 years and have to work really hard the rest of their lives. So that's something to consider. The relative piece of what I remember is you go through, at least at the Air Force Academy, you go through first basic cadet training, where you learn how to wear your blues uniform underneath your the blues. You learn how to, you know, march and walk and make your bed look perfect and all of those things. The second half, you go out into the desert, or whatever you want to call it. You learn how to build a tent. And you learn how to eat MREs and fire, all around the dirt. Those are two different aspects of what we do. After we get up, after we get in with first and second beast, we go back, and there's about a week lull before school starts. And I can remember sitting there in my room like, I am so happy. Right now, I'm so happy. You know what I was doing? I was shining my shoes. I was drinking a Coke. I was eating pizza with about 5 people that I really enjoyed being around. And I was like, how can I be so happy in this crazy environment of what I've just been through? And it's relative. It all gets taken away from you, and then they build it back up a little bit, a little bit. It's the best Coke I've ever had in my life. I was like, wow, this is so good. So So it's relative, and that's something that you'll learn. I think that's about all I've got. Wes and I will be here if you guys have personal questions. I mean, I've got 1,000 different stories we could tell. But one of the things I'll start about my mom, and then I'll hand it over to the most amazing parents that I've ever met, Jim and Amy Glisson. When my mom was the mom going through the experience at the academy, she was in withdrawal. She actually got carpal tunnel the first summer I went to the academy. She's on the parents' net on the computer all day. She was in braces by the time I saw her for parents' weekend. 8 weeks later, she was just so information starved, and I think that's grown and that exists so much more now, 15 years later, than it did when Wes and I went through. But that was kind of her funny story. So she says, my academy experience gave her a carpal tunnel. I said, hey, but I didn't give you any school debt, so it's okay. But with that, I'd like to introduce Sandy, my mother-in-law, who has been just an amazing support of Wes and of us. 15 years ago, you were engaged to another gal, and promise, maybe promise is a better word. Promise to another gal. There we go. Sorry. And I think that kind of went different. Wes brought me home to visit you guys for the first time, and I remember walking away going, wow. Jim and Sadie are amazing people. So just amazing, nice, great, loving, caring families. And you guys are all that here today, sitting here as moms and dads. You've got sisters, brothers, probably girlfriends. I'm sure there's girlfriends and boyfriends out there that are part of your life circle. But something that changed for us for the good, and it's just been an amazing journey with you guys for the last 15 years. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sadie to talk about parents.
Thank you, Congressman Brady, for inviting us here. It's truly an honor to be here with the class of 2016. I know you as parents can't keep the smile off your face, and your chest is probably about to bust, because that's the way Jim and I are. And we're just so excited for y'all. And Congressman Brady has really given y'all a good opportunity to meet other parents, and that's going to be really important these next 4 years. So I encourage you to take the opportunity to exchange telephone numbers and email addresses and get to know one another, because y'all going to lean on each other for the next 4 years, that's for sure. And also the Houston area has a parent association. If y'all haven't already joined that, I really encourage you to do so. And I'm not sure if they continue to do this or not, but when our kids were in the academy, they had what Amy was referring to as the parent net. And there was a chat room that you could go into and talk to parents from all over the country, and they kind of keep you abreast of what's going on at the academy, because the information doesn't flow, at least speaking from the Air Force Academies, the information doesn't flow very well. So you learn a lot of things from the sponsor parents, get to know them. They're going to be your lifeline, your children's lifeline for sure. And when you go to the academy, if you haven't already booked your room for parent weekend, I encourage you to go home and do that today. Get your room for a parent weekend, and you're going to be so excited when you see your cadet for the first time. And like Amy said, you won't recognize them. And when you're there at the academy for parent weekend, arrive early for all your events. Get there 30, 40 minutes earlier than they tell you to be there, because seating and parking is, I just take my word for it, arrive early. And the other thing is, Wes tried to advise Jim and I not to eat the food. We didn't take his advice. We regret it. I'm advising you when the first parent weekend, they did it at Preston. I'm not sure if they did it at the academy or not. The first year, the parents get to eat in the lunchroom. And Wes was like, "Why are you doing that?" And I'm like, "Well, they invited us, and we want to be a part of it." And he was like, "Okay." Well, I thought he just didn't want us to be there eating. I had no idea why he wouldn't want us to do that. So he comes in and he sits across the table from us, and we go through the lunch line, and we get, we're just happy to be there. We're just so happy to see him. Just so happy to be there. And so Wes is just sitting across the table like this, just looking at us. And so we sit down and we take a bite. And look at him across the table, and I take my napkin, and I put it in my lap, and he goes, "Told you." It was really, really bad. Real bad. But, you know, y'all have all been accepted into a large family. And I have a couple of stories that kind of bring that home. When Wes made the varsity football team, we actually got to go out on a Friday and get to go to a pep rally. And so we were standing in line, and it's in the press box there at the stadium. And we were waiting in line, and the doors weren't open yet. And the lady in front of me turned around and started having a conversation with me. And we talked, you know, just chatted. And pretty soon she picked up her necklace, and she said, and it was a star with a diamond in it. And she said, "My son just made general." And I was like, "Oh, I know you're so proud. I'm so proud for you. Congratulations." And we talked about that for a while. And when she was through, I looked at her and I said, "Well, my son just made varsity." And I looked over at Jim. Jim's like, having grown up in the military, he knew journal was a really big deal. But I was proud as my son as she was hers. And I shared that. So anyway, we got into finally the open doors, and we went in. Jim's like, "Why did you say that? That's so embarrassing." I said, "Well, when I said my son just played varsity," she goes, "Oh, what's his number? What's his name? Because we have season tickets, and we'll be sure to cheer for him, and you know, we will watch him throughout his career." And Wesley, when they got to F.E. Warren, he told me there was a general there that knew his number, what position he played, and I often wondered if that might not have been the son of that lady that we met at the pep rally that day. But another experience I had that kind of brings home the family is, I was going to a conference one week and with some of my coworkers, and one of the prosecutors that was traveling with us lives here in the Woodlands, so we stopped at Starbucks and picked her up on our way. And I don't drink Starbucks, so I was leaving and going back out to the car, and I saw this lady sitting in an SUV in the parking lot. And she looked distressed to me. She just had this look that my heart just really went out to her, and I didn't know what she was going through personally, but I could tell that, you know, there was something going on. So I didn't know her. She was a stranger, so I just kept walking to the car. And then I turned around and looked back, and she had a U.S. Military Academy sticker on her car. And something made me turn around and go back. You know, it was probably the man upstairs. When I turned around, and I went and I tapped on her window, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "No." I said, "I noticed you have a bumper sticker on your car that says Military Academy. Do you have someone there?" She said, "Well, my son graduated last year, and he deployed this morning going to Afghanistan." So my heart went out to her because Wes had already deployed and been home from Afghanistan. So, you know, I just sat and visited with her for a while, and then, you know, hugged her and, you know, gave her my name and my number and told her she needed to talk further, and I'd be happy to talk with her. So I'm sorry I get emotional about that, but anyway, I get back in the car, and I mean, they had kids, the people I was traveling with kept around looking at me like, "Come on, let's go." So I get back in the car, and one of the prosecutors goes, "Who was that? Did you even know them?" And I went, "No." And they went, "Well, what were y'all talking about for so long?" And I said, "Well, she has a son that graduated from the military from West Point, and he left this morning going to Afghanistan." And he goes, "Oh my God." He said, "That is just amazing." He said, "No matter where you go in this country, you have a bond and a connection with somebody because of the academy experience that your son went through." And I went, "Yeah." I said, "I really haven't thought about that, but you're right." So y'all have just been accepted into a large family. And on behalf of the Glisson family, to the class of 2016, and to your parents, I'd like to say welcome.
Pretty remarkable family, don't you think? Well, and it is true. You know, the parents, you do have a network that lasts the rest of your life, no matter where you're at, midshipmen, wherever they're at. There are parents that are looking out for them just as you do for them. And I didn't fully understand the sponsor parent, you know, sort of concept until we got more involved in this. But it really is remarkable. I want to thank the Glissons for sharing their experience today. We have for Amy and Sandy a small token of our appreciation from the U.S. House of Representatives. Let me present. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed hearing from these amazing individuals. I hope you take their stories and their recommendations, Amy, to heart. I love the thought of failing forward. That's a great lesson in life. In Congress, we do that a lot, the failing part. I'm not sure about the forward part. But I do want to thank each of you, each of the graduates, for volunteering to serve your country. I wish you all the best of luck. In your first year at the Academies. The next year will be difficult for you, but your family and your community are pulling for you every step of the way. And parents, thank you for raising such outstanding young men and women. Please take this opportunity to exchange information with the other Academy parents around you to build a support network for our Academy students. We often have Tim and Beverly Sisk who attend these events as well. Their son's West Point graduate. We have resources for you as well from our office to help as well. And I want to thank everyone again for joining me on this Saturday morning for breakfast. Can we thank the Toasted Yolk for showing up for breakfast? They did and please know too, my office is here to serve all of you. Don't hesitate to call or email me if we can be of assistance. And students, my request of you, besides I already know you're going to serve our community and our country well, but keep us posted. Drop us an email, let us know what you're doing. It is a thrill for me in our busy lives. This is our 16th year of nominating future leaders for the country. We want to keep up with you, what you're doing, how's it going, where you're at. So please take a moment. It doesn't have to be all that often. Just let me know how you're doing and where you're at, because it is a thrill for me. And I'll tell you, I'm on Facebook and Twitter and all that goes with that. So there's lots of ways you can access us and keep us up to date. And the other thing too is I'm convinced as we work through this process that you set a path forward for other younger students. When people in your school, you don't even know them, juniors, seniors, sophomore, junior high brothers and sisters, neighborhood, when they watch you go to the academies, some of them start thinking, wait a minute, I can do that as well. And what I've noticed is in schools, in neighborhoods, in communities, as you move up, it's sort of the spiral goes up and you attract others with you as well. So you've got an opportunity within the community as well, within your neighborhood, family, church, to attract more young people in serving the country. So you're really an inspiration from this day forward to a lot of people you probably don't know and may never meet, but will follow your footsteps. So before we close, I'd like to invite back up Lieutenant Colonel Champe Miller for the benediction to lead us in prayer. And again, Champ, I so appreciate your leadership and your service to us. Champ.
Amy, thank you so much. That was great portion on leadership. And as she said several times, we're all a team. We all support one another. And that's the way we do it in the service. The prayer that we're going to close with today is the midshipmen prayer that's used at the Naval Academy. And this is dedicated to my daughter, who is a Marine at this time. Let us pray. Almighty Father, whose way is in the sea, whose paths are in the great waters, whose command is over all, and whose love never faileth, let me be aware of thy presence and obedient to thy will. Keep me true to my best self, guarding me against dishonesty in purpose and in deed, and helping me so to live that I can stand unashamed and unafraid before my shipmates, my loved ones, and thee. Protect those in whose love I live. Give me the will to do my best and to accept my share of responsibilities with a strong heart and a cheerful mind. Make me considerate of those entrusted to my leadership and faithful to the duties of my country has entrusted in me. Let my uniform remind me daily of the traditions of service of which I am a part. If I am inclined to doubt, steady my faith. If I am tempted, make me strong to resist. If I should miss the mark, give me courage to try again. Guide me with the light of truth and keep before me the life of Him whose example and help I trust to obtain the answer to my prayer, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Jan, great choices. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Graduates, good luck. Parents, thank you so much. And we're dismissed, except for Justin.
Yeah, if we can get the cadets up here, we want a picture with all the cadets and Mr. Brady. And then also, if you came to Academy Day, we have your photos in the back, as well as the Academy board members. We have the photos in the back as well. Go and grab those for you.
Great. Thank you all.